Hey, what is up, guys? I'm just gonna go ahead and get straight into it. This has been one of my better weeks of trading, and I just wanted to go ahead and do just a quick review. Not only because I want to be able to go back and analyze these trades, but I think that you guys could possibly get some value out of basically what I'm gonna go ahead and talk about. And today we'll go ahead and talk first and foremost about AVGO because I did take a trade on AVGO. And then we're going to talk about a trade I took yesterday, which was Amazon. And I also took a trade on PLTR here today. So we're going to go ahead and review 3 trades. But as always, what we're going to go ahead and do first is we'll go ahead and pull up the ES. I'm currently done trading for the day, so market hours are still open. But as you guys can see, I had kind of the supply area from 6,315 down to 6,310. On ES, I'm going to mainly utilize ES. I should go over NQ though, so disregard that. I'm actually going to go over NQ as well because there is something very interesting going on between ES and NQ, as well as the IWM. But essentially today we had the jobless claims report, but as you can see, ES has relative strength behind it. You know, we're creeping up on that all-time highs of 633, 63333. And you know, I noticed that we were getting some relative strength here. So because I noticed that we were getting some relative strength, my eye immediately went to AVGO. Now, why did I go to AVGO? Well, because AVGO had broken all-time highs today. So because it had broke all-time highs, it's a semiconductor, and semiconductors have been relatively strong when you go across the board. You know, Nvidia strong, AMD strong, ASML strong. You know, when you go across the board, there's a lot of really strong names. So I went ahead and I wanted to get into some AVGO here today on the long side. You know, who would have thought this was going to happen? We got a mean flush. But that didn't deter me from not going ahead and taking a good little long trade. So I seen that we were failing pretty aggressively. And I do have a specific indicator that I do use that helps me go ahead and get into trades. And no, it's not this green line thing. There's something here that I utilize right here in this bar. And basically, we had an overextension on a short. This was getting really overextended and oversold. Like I've talked about before, this is a 60 EMA and a 20 EMA. And we were just riding the 60 EMA down on the 2-minute. And we got this flush out down to previous day lows. And I literally bottom ticked this, by the way. I got in, immediately bottom tick. And I was in about, 10 contracts. And we got this nice little pop up here. And I immediately sold off into this pop. And that was a really good trade here. I had drew this line basically from here when this candle showed up and we had that top wick. I drew this line here because we have that bottoming wick, the flush candle, and this rejected, so this line is very valuable. And you can see here where it's kind of starting to have issues. Now what I ended up doing is we ended up having another flush out. I re-entered. I got out here near this line. Then I re-entered here. We got the double bottom, but I actually got out on this candle, and I got like a low actual fill. I got filled maybe at like 42, like probably at the close of this candle is actually where I got out at. So I got out because I knew that this was gonna kind of be an area resistance, but we are now above this cloud, which I can obviously think, I think that we're gonna probably go higher. But I was essentially using previous day lows as my guide on a sector that's relatively strong. Even though we sold off pretty aggressively here today, I would not be surprised, by the way, if we get all the way back up to like 277, 276.50s, maybe even VWAP. I would not be surprised in the slightest. But I want to go ahead and also share with you guys the NQ really quick. Because, you guys just seen the ES. Look how much the NQ is relatively weak versus the ES. I mean, ES is pushing towards all-time highs. I mean, so was NQ, really. NQ was actually relatively strong because it broke out on this day, and ES hasn't. But there is some relative weakness coming into the NQ, mainly because semiconductors was weak today, which is AVGO. But that's basically essentially it for the AVGO trade. We got a nice little wash. Got a nice washout. The goal is to be patient, guys. You should not be sitting here, you know, getting in just at any level when this is washing out. It was either going to flush down a previous day low for my entry, or I was just not going to touch the trade, guys. It has to be like that. Just so you guys are aware, when you get to a certain level of trading, you know, it either gets to where you want it to go, or it's just not your setup or not your trade. Now, obviously, hindsight would tell me, hey, you know, I probably should have shorted like here, you know. Hindsight would tell me short here for this flush out and continuation. But, you know, this trade was a really, really big trade. This was a very, very good trade, especially when you take account that I basically rinsed the trade. I just kept getting in, got in, you know, I was getting out. So that ended up, you know, being very, very, very good. And I also took a short on PLTR here today. My short came in on the close of this candle. So what we got essentially is we have like a real nice consolidation of topping tails. And I was like, okay, so we got, you know, we get this push up. We start kind of creating this little base. And you guys should draw these lines intraday, because they really are sound, and it will help you kind of with your trade. So if you've noticed, like right here, this is just like a channel. And as soon as we wash under, this is an indicator of pre-market highs, as you guys can see. As soon as we washed under pre-market highs, I got in, and my risk was literally the cents. I mean, we're talking, my risk was essentially 15 cents. I would have gave it a little bit more room. I probably would have gave it like, you know, above this candle. So if it would have broke above this candle, I would have got out. But you get this beautiful washout, and I held my whole position all the way until the pre-market low, which is this light blue line. Now, I did sense that we were going to get some relative weakness on PLTR. And I thought we were going to flush out, because, I mean, look where previous day lows is. I mean, previous day lows is down here at 137. But, you know, I got out. I was happy. I was pretty content. I had taken, I think I took like 15 contracts here. Took like 15 contracts. And, I mean, this was just, I didn't see no red, by the way, in this trade, like at all. So, like, it was just immediately in the money green. And that was a very, very good trade. Very quick little scalp. Yet again, you could ride my cloud. Pause. Just the straight 6 EMA pushing it down with the 20 as a guide. And this cloud kind of is still, you know, now it's kind of changing. But there's a good push down. And I got out literally like at the lows of this as well. Because I was very proactive. You guys don't know, I'm a very proactive trader. I have targets in mind as I get into a trade. I don't just see what price action is going to do. So immediately, as soon as we got near this level, I just covered. I was like, this is where I want my target, and that's what I did. So it was a nice trade. And let's go into Amazon really quick here. Now, Amazon was a trade I took yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and do a 2-day. Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. Okay. We'll do a 2-day, 2-minute. Let's get here. Okay. So for my Amazon trade here, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I actually made a mistake in this trade yesterday, and this was by far probably my best trade that I have taken, but I did mess up a little bit here. The key mess up that I made was I front ran the short here. So essentially what I did was, as we were grinding up on Amazon, I mean, look how mean this move is. I actually put a starter position here, right? I was using pre-market highs as my kind of my guide. And actually, pre-market highs isn't even here. Pre-market highs is here for yesterday. But I was using I was just using this failure as kind of my guide. I had 3 contracts on, and as it was pushing up, I was just staying patient because it was a starter. But I did realize that I had gotten in a bit too prematurely. So I was waiting, and I think the previous day highs, yesterday, I think we crushed over it maybe by like a couple of cents. Yeah, I think we were, where's the previous day highs at? Because it should be, yeah, so it's 224.29. So that's like right here. So But I think we were here. Somewhere around this vicinity was the previous day highs for the other day. And so it popped over, and as soon as we started getting a failure, I had drawn, it's not here no more, but I had drawn kind of a little flag. And I basically drew it from here because what I was seeing is I was seeing a lower high step in here. So all I did was I drew something like this, kind of like a bear flag. I drew that because this to me is a lower high now, and we were also failing previous day highs. And as soon as this fail came in, I scaled into 30 contracts. And I literally got, it's funny because this is actually pre-market highs today, but I got out of my position on this candle. Obviously, I could have wrote it more, so I've got 30 contracts in here, 30 puts. Well, in total, so there was 3 and then 27 here. So I took 27 puts here, and I wrote them all the way down to this flush candle, and I didn't get the lows of it. I probably got I think I got 47, yeah. Actually, I did get a 47. I got a 47 closure on this. And that was kind of the end of the trade. And the reason why I took it was because we do have a supply in this area, which is what this red kind of, shade is. If you pull up the 1 hour, you can see how many times we've kind of been wicking off this level. So that is why I took the trade on Amazon. You could just see this whole area is pretty, substantial. You could take this until this area breaks. You can literally short this area over and over and over again until it breaks. Not financial advice, by the way. But, until this shows a change of character, it's trading within kind of a pretty decent channel. And that was practically it. I did take a couple of other trades, but those were the main trades that I took that I felt like talking about. This is actually one of the better trading weeks that I have had in quite some time. Every day has been a green trade, or every day has been a green day, and they've been pretty substantial green days as well. So I cannot really complain. I have not traded any futures. I just don't see the point in trading futures at my current basically at my current state. It just makes no sense because futures is kind of a hindrance rather than just focusing on individual names, because you can just read them much better rather than the futures market currently. So yeah, that's basically it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys found some value out of the video, and that is it. Later.